Dude, of course, this new album sounds sick, and I'm stoked to have you on to chat about it, and everything else that you guys got going on. Um, so it was kind of just I knew that you guys had like put out a couple recent singles, and then I got an email saying like, with the link to the full thing. So I was like, hell yeah, I gotta see if I can make this happen.
Hell yeah. Thanks for checking it out.
Dude, of course. Um, cool. Well, other than that, what I'll do is I'll crack one of my drinks here, and then I will bring you in, and then we'll kind of just see. Perfect. We'll see where the evening takes us.
Cool.
All right, sweet. Well, in three, two, one. Welcome to the Beers with Bands podcast with your host, Michael Torres. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Beers with Bands. This week, I'm sitting down with Skyler from Taking Meds. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing great. It's Thursday. It's almost the weekend. I got one more day of work, and I'm inside, outside, away from the humidity. So can't go wrong with that.
Cool. I'm in my
Uh,
car.
well, I appreciate you. I know, like you mentioned before we started, that you were going to record in the practice space. But I appreciate you having the backup, and you're not the only one that I've talked to from their vehicle. So
There was
it's
there was guys in there playing metal.
that would be a little difficult to record a podcast. So I do appreciate you. For people that aren't aware, Taking Meds is a rock band based out of New York. Um, I mean, you guys have been around kicking since like 2013, 2016, put out the first debut album. But now we're in 2023 to talk about the latest project that you guys are putting out called Dial M for Meds, which came out. I mean, this episode comes out mid September. So, the album came out on September 1st. So we're a couple weeks removed from that. But I mean, this has been a great album to listen to, like I told you before we fully started. And I feel like it's a great follow up from your record that came out in 2021, where I mean, in this one we kind of see a little bit of a different change. I mean, it starts out amazing right off the bat. You get us all hooked in with Memory Lane, and it just the rest of the record just takes you for this amazing journey of just there's something about the way you kind of write your lyrics where you have like these funny moments and then they also seem very real, so you kind of get those little chuckles, but then you're also like, oh wait, that's all relatable at the same time, and it's just a great ride throughout.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
um Obviously, like I said, this comes out at the beginning of September. At the time of this recording, only two of the songs are out for the public as of right now, and that's Memory Lane and Outside. um what's the response kind of been on these ones compared to what you were expecting, or like, I don't know if that's the right term, but like, what's the response been on these two singles so far leading up to this release?
Uh, it's been good. People seem to like it, and some people seem to like it more, which is what my hope was. And I haven't. Nobody's expressed because, like you said, it is kind of different, um, especially from like our first record, but it's different from our first three records for sure. And nobody has at least expressed to me that they're disappointed, for the most part. Maybe like, I mean, it wouldn't bum me out. It doesn't bum me out when it's like one or two friends who are like, I just like the old stuff better. But if it was like a noticeable, like, oh, people aren't digging it as much, but I think it's cool. I think we had done everything we wanted to do with the old sound, and I think people probably know that and can tell and get it, and it still sounds like us. So yeah, it's been
Yeah,
cool.
100%. It still sounds like you guys, and I think one thing that kind of helps with it not being so much of a drastic change is that it's still it's while it's still like a different change, it's still taking meds rather than like I haven't used this example in a while, but when 100th went from like super like metalcore and then they kind of switched over to shoegaze, like you guys didn't do a full 180 with everything, so it's
Sure.
like it's still you guys at heart, but it's still just a new chapter of taking meds, and where you guys have, like you said, you guys kind of did what all everything you could do in that old sound, and now this is just the next chapter and where we're going from here.
Yeah, for sure. I've never heard that. I'm not, I'm only familiar from other people talking about the 100th heel turn. I didn't know it was so drastic, but yeah, I'm glad ours didn't seem as drastic, I guess.
I mean, no, like hate towards them for doing that. Obviously, it's their own project, and the same if you guys were to do a full 180 and change it up.
I
It's
mean, yeah,
always
there's bands that have done it, like Ceremony, where I was just like fully on board because yeah, I think it's a bold move and there's a way to do it, in a way that's going to work for you.
right. Um, I mean, not to like bring up the past, but like even Such Gold has done the same thing where the early EPs were very like pop punk, easy core, and then everything kind of shifted kind of math rock, and kind of down that lane. Um, and I mean that's I was gonna say this to the end, but that's like my ride or die band. Like, and I've been with it.
What's your favorite record?
I mean, I'm still a sucker for Stand Tall. Those early EPs. Misadventures is probably like my favorite lately that I listen to all the time. But Stand Tall and Pedestal are my favorites.
Cool.
Um, yeah, I didn't want to bring that up right away, but I just got
That's
lost
okay.
in a moment. uh, but I mean, back to Taking Meds. I mean, like I said, this is just such a fun album to listen to. I mean, between all the like the kind of little jabs and funny moments, I think like in uh, life support, I can't remember exactly which one. You talk about how someone mistook the name of your band for taking bets instead of taking meds.
It
Um,
happens all the time. Yeah, you got the track right too.
okay, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then like you also talk about how there's like a line about getting stuck in the elevator at the JFK airport, which are just like funny little things that are in there that you don't see coming while you're like already like in the groove of the song, and it just to me it kind of adds like another little element where it just spices it up, and then you kind of like come back to reality and you're like, oh no, I'm still like jamming out to this with like a comedic moment. It's great.
Thanks, man. I'm glad that gets across.
Is
I
that something
remember
that
when I showed that song to our bass player, he was like, "This is the dumbest song you've ever written." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, let's go."
like what's your thought process behind adding stuff like little elements like that into a song?
um, I mean, that song is that the chorus to that song is absurd. So it didn't need to like it just needed to fit the vibe.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of in line with the kind of imagery I like, so it worked. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think like that song, that was the only song that I like wrote and recorded the demo all on my own. Like Ben did a ton of the musical work on this album, and I wrote it, and I was like, oh man, this is like a fucking jangly college rock, like almost like radio song. So that was my version of making like lighthearted lyrics, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not really a lighthearted song at all, but it is. Yeah, I guess it is a funny song. So it
Yeah.
seemed to work.
Yeah, because you do this thing where you also talk about in uh like aftertaste where you kind of talk about your past uh, like drug usage and stuff, but you
Yeah.
also you're diving into those heavy moments, but you're also like making it lighthearted enough where while you're talking about that, you're kind of just talking about like your new almost your new fix by the end of the song as to like change it up. Um, so I mean, to bring those elements through, I know a lot of people would try and like keep that stuff out of like the light or whatever you want to say, but to bring them to the forefront in the lyrics, um, I think that's really commendable because I mean, a lot of people will relate to that stuff and have a better connection with taking meds.
Yeah, I hope so. I I think I'm always gonna be, because I feel like if you like think of like your typical subculture guitar band wrote a song about addiction, um, and it's like a little bit of a like pessimistic thing to say, but like I would expect something melodramatic and um, overwrought and like self-indulgently sad. You know what I mean? And like
Mhm.
I my way of avoid my first instinct for avoiding that, I think, is probably to I just try to avoid it, but it turns out being people always turn out saying it's funny. So I guess that's my instinct for avoiding tropes and like another song about somebody's drug addiction, because like I don't think it's like I've been sober for a long time, and I mean not a super long time, but longer than I thought I ever would be. So it's not all I have to say, and it's not that interesting to me. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's just another aspect of you where it's not like the main point of you anymore because you've just lived with it so long.
Yeah, it's a big part of me, but I don't want to like bash people over the head with it. You know,
Yeah.
it's always going to come up
Right.
because I don't have that much to talk about, I guess. But
No, yeah, that's fair. I understand what you're saying. But I mean, uh, yeah, I just think it's great. And then I mean, obviously, just it's better than like dudes our age or older still, writing about the same kind of like stuff all the time. Or like you'll listen to like the typical like emo or pop punk stuff, and it's all just more about a girl. Where I feel like you've gone through so much stuff where like it's like no, like this is just where we're fucking at. Like this is life. This is how, like this is real life rather than oh I'm missing high school and shit like that.
yeah, yeah, I would just do something else if that was the only option for lyrics. I would just probably, I don't know, go do manual labor or something,
That's fair. Um,
and make fun of guys that write songs like that.
uh, with this EP, well, with this album as well, you kind of did. It's I think what 10 songs, and towards the end, we kind of see a small change in pace with the song "Kindness," which I felt like just came a little bit out of left field right towards the
Mhm.
end, which was the nice little change up before going into the last song, "See the Clowns." Um, like it took me a little while to like fully understand it. I listened to this album probably 5 or 6 times today, just to get like the full feel of everything. But I really liked the additional vocals that you have featured in the song to kind of balance everything out.
Mhm.
Who was that? Because I want to give them a quick shout out just because it works so well with that song.
That was Jess from Old Soul.
Well, like what was how did that come about to bring them in? Was there were they always the main idea to bring in, or was like how did that come about?
For a long time. I mean, so that song is like you said, it's like it's an outlier for the record, but it does. I mean, in my opinion, it sounds like a song that Taking Meds would do, but it sounds like it should be on one of the other albums.
Hmm.
And um, this record we made with Noah and James, drummer and bass player, and it was both of their first time recording a record with us. So they liked the band before they joined the band, and we were working on songs, and I I remember like not really feeling what we had going on, and talking to Ben about it, and then he started kind of pumping out these more straightforward rock songs, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. And then I wrote Life Support, and we end up having like this whole record. But it was very, I'm not like, I'm blaming Noah and James right now. It was, they were very, Ben and I were like thinking about cutting Kindness, and they were like, that's our favorite song. Like, please. And we kind of like exercise our veto power on everything because we've been doing the band since 2013. And they were like, just give us this one track. Like, don't cut it off the record. So we are like, all right. And yeah, and then like after we did pre-production on it, we were like, man, this came together real nice. Like, so I'm happy it's on the record. Hopefully we didn't fuck up. But
No, like it's great.
when when I did the demo, I just sang in like falsetto. I just sang those parts that Jess sings in like falsetto. And I was like, yeah, I would like to have like a female voice here. And James was like immediately like, oh, we should just have Jess from Old Soul do it. And so she just came in on our last day of the vocal sessions and just did it like real fast. And it was great.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it like I said, it and we kind of mentioned it, it does seem like an outlier on this record, but I feel like it came out, it's still amazing, and I still love the sound and how it came out on this record. But it's a nice little kind of like dip right before you go back into the last song, and you guys just come back in with like this version of Taking Meds just to send it off.
Yeah. I mean, I think about like records like a perfect record, a perfect like power pop record or whatever, like the Blue Album is what a lot of people would say, and I would agree. And this is like a power pop record, I think. I mean, Kurt kept saying it when we were in the studio. He kept calling it that. So I think at least some people will think that it is. And um, but then I think about a band like Blur or something. See, like, because like Oasis is another band that would uh just make a perfect record, and all the songs are like earworms. But Blur would have some fucking weird track on there where he's just talking, and like probably half the people who hear it aren't even gonna like it. And so, I don't think that we're at the Blue Album level anyway as pop songwriters. I think we're still kind of weirdos. So this is a very Taking Meds thing to do, is have that at track number 9. So whatever.
Yeah. Speaking of
Most
like
people
taking
don't even get to track 9 anymore anyway. So
that is a solid point. And what normally happens is, oh yeah, I'll get to the last half of this album at some point, and then they just never go back. Which
right.
is one thing like I've had to like train myself to try and get out of just like, no, I gotta power through. I gotta see what's on this back six or back half of this album,
I'm
and
guilty
there's
of
usually
it.
some good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's crazy that I don't know if like, I guess it's probably always been like that to some extent, because like B-sides is a term for a reason, right? But like, dude, there's so many albums where the best song is like track 7 or something. You know what I mean? There's so many, like, not all albums are like front loaded, even though it's kind of a smart thing to do nowadays. Yeah, man, it's like at a certain point, like, you got to just let go and like pick the best songs in your mind and put them in the order that feels right to you.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that happens, and I don't think it helps sometimes, is that a lot of the singles that get released leading up to the album are usually like the first half, because most people feel like the singles that they're releasing are, either like top five or so of the songs that are going to be on the album, and they release those first. And usually, if they're in the first half of the record, you're like, okay, I've heard all the hits.
Yeah,
I'll come back and see what's going on later.
sure.
It's and I kind of bring that up as you guys release In Memory or Memory Lane and Outside as which are the first two tracks off of this. What was the
Yep.
reasoning behind releasing those two tracks
I
first
mean,
compared to anything else?
we just front loaded the record. But I will say, like, this record doesn't get weird until Kindness, and I honestly think that even for a weird song, like, Kindness is pretty catchy. It's pretty repetitive and catchy. It's just there's just talking on it. So, like, I we had trouble picking singles anyway, but I was like, I felt strongly about Life Support and Memory Lane, and so did Ben, because they were like, Life Support was my favorite that I wrote, even though it was the only one I wrote. I was just really excited about it. And Ben, so Life Support's coming out this Monday,
Okay, that's
but
the one you guys have been
people,
hinting at. Got it.
but by the time this comes out, it'll already be out. So yeah, but yeah, and Ben's favorite song that he wrote, um, like the music for, was Memory Lane. So yeah, I thought Memory Lane was probably the strongest song on the record at the time. And now I'm not sure. Like, I really like Outside now. Um, but most people we showed it to were like, "Oh man, Outside is the track." So that we took that into consideration, and that song, The Other End, that comes right before Kindness, that would be like that was like our fourth single, and it's going to be like the focus track or whatever they call it for when the I think I think it might come out like 2 days before the album or something like that.
Okay, yeah. I
But
mean,
that's
all
what they
solid
used to.
tracks.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, all the songs are catchy. All the songs have choruses. All the songs have guitar solos. So, like, it was hard to pick for sure. It's definitely not. I shouldn't say it's front loaded, because I think the B side of this record is. I genuinely think it's really strong, and I don't feel that way about all our records. So
Yeah, no, I definitely agree that the B side is just as strong. Um, there was
I
no,
love the last song. I want to start playing it first in the set, even though it's 5 minutes long. It's just rocker.
yeah, it's a straight ripper. Um, I know we kind of before we got on that tangent, you kind of mentioned how you guys are like the kind of like the weird guys in taking meds. I know you guys have had this kind of weird thing where you're either like too heavy for the pop punk kids or you're too light for like the heavy guys. How do you feel like that's going to change with this record coming out?
Well, it's not very heavy. So I feel like I don't know if people who like pop punk are all gonna like it, but I feel like at least some of them will. It's not a pop punk record, but it's poppy, and there's riffs and shit. So I feel like those kids will like it. Uh, Hardcore, I'm not like. I mean, I know I spend enough time like hanging out with people who are fully like hardcore kids and going to hardcore shows and shit to know that, like, they're just gonna like what they're gonna like, and primarily it's what's going on in hardcore right now. So, but I know our friends from upstate will like it, and I know that there's been bands that aren't heavy at all that have ended up on Sound and Fury and shit like that. So if that happens, cool, and if not, whatever. Like, it's not meant for either of those audiences. So whoever wants to like it, great.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I could see it fitting both ways. I mean, you guys are playing Furnace Fest this year. I'm sure there'll still be a hell of a crowd. I don't know if there'll be crazy circle pits or mosh pits going on for you guys, but That'd be fucking sick if there was. Just ball out for it.
We'll see. It would be a sight to see for sure.
Right.
Anytime anybody's ever pitted to this band, I'm just like not mad at it, but I don't understand what you're doing. It's jump up and down music, but people
Yeah.
don't do that enough anymore.
Well, once you hit a certain age, it's just more like you're gonna stand there and kind of just bob with your knees, but also finger point at the same time. Us old people
That's
can't
fine.
really bounce around anymore.
That's perfect. That's the perfect response, I think. But usually the response is just that's it.
Yeah. Like
Any
I've never.
movement is good.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just gonna say like I don't play any shows, but like that's got to be kind of hard to read when someone's just like posted up and like there's
Impossible, dude.
like what
It's
do you do? Like, do you just make it a point to try and get them to move at some point in your set, just to
just
hope that
play.
just to get some glimmer of like, do they even enjoy this at all? Like, let's do something, or do you just say fuck it, we're just gonna keep doing our thing?
Um, there, there's not really. I don't like ask people to move around.
Right.
Um, yeah, and I don't know. It's like when you're a four piece band, it's hard to like. I don't know. I'm not like a hype man. I like to like joke around. I like to play the songs. The songs have energy, so like yeah. I mean, I if people are into it, I will get into it and stuff. And like what you're saying is uh is true. Like you can tell the reaction. Like if you get at like a hardcore show or something, when you see like a physical reaction, you're like, that was a good show,
Hmm.
you know. But when people are just standing there, you don't know until after people come up to you and say they liked it, if they liked it,
Yeah.
right? So, but I'm never gonna like ask people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be that dude. Like, I don't see you moving. I'm never gonna do that.
I guess I more meant like, does it make you want to play like a little harder, uh, and like get like showcase your enthusiasm more, just to try and get people more involved, rather than like calling someone out and being like, "Yo, dude, you're not moving. What's going on?" Just like kind of like by a proxy of like, oh, if I jump around and play hard
Well,
enough.
I've been thinking about that a lot lately, actually. It's just like it's it's easy to forget why you started doing this. Um, and I've been guilty of this before, and I've seen other people like go through the motions where they look miserable on stage. And I think the real answer is just to like remember why you're there and treat it you know, like how you feel at band practice when a song comes together and you're like rocking out together. And that's all that matters. And that's like all that people want to see, in my opinion,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, 100%. Like if I'm there to see a band, I want to see them like also having a good time on stage, because I mean, seeing my friends be on stage of like them getting to play with their best friends, like that's what I just imagine like every band that I'm seeing is just having those moments, because they get to be out there doing that with their friends every night. So like if I want to see that happiness while I also have happiness watching them and listening to the songs that they've made.
For sure.
Uh Kind of jumping back into this album after those little tangents there. Um I mean, came out beginning of September. You are doing a couple supporting runs. Granted, they'll be done by the time that this episode comes out, with Smoking Popes and Born Without Bones. Do you guys plan on doing like any run to support this on your guys' own?
Yeah. We're going to be going out in November with a couple bands, and we haven't announced that yet. and we're still kind of working on the lineups for the individual shows, but there'll be a good bit of U.S. dates,
Oh, yeah.
mostly Midwest and East Coast stuff. But yeah,
Fuck yeah. Now,
so that'll be for this year at least. Yeah.
Midwest. I know a lot of bands will do the Midwest run, but then they seem to forget us here in Minneapolis. Is that on the list?
No, I think we're going to be guilty of forgetting you guys.
All right, all right. Well,
Man,
you'll have to make it out here at some point.
it's up there, dude. Fuck, I really, yeah, we've only played there. I think we played there twice, maybe. I don't even know, but yeah, we will. We'll be back.
Yeah. No, it's just this funny thing that I've noticed. Like I'm originally from Iowa, so being in Iowa, some bands would come through like Iowa City, but if you wanted to see like, the bigger touring acts, it would be like going to Chicago or like the next biggest city. And then I moved to Minneapolis and I was like, oh fuck yeah, all the tours have been coming here. And I don't know if it's just since I moved here or what, but it seems like every tour just avoids Minneapolis and it's just and then they hit Iowa instead, which is very funny that it's just reversed for no reason. But just want to give you a little shit for that.
I think it's got to be like a distance thing, right?
Probably they're not that far apart, but
Yeah,
that's all semantics. But
like
it was more
using
just a
like
joke.
yeah. I feel you. I think Minneapolis is probably a better market than any city in Iowa. No shade to Iowa, but
Yeah,
you know,
right. But yeah, uh, no, but that's cool. People expect those dates. I'll be sure to repost those when they get dropped. Make sure everyone that sees those goes out and checks out those shows. And uh, since I won't be there, but yeah, I mean, before we kind of transition, I know we kind of jumped a little bit all around this album, and I mean, like I've said, I've enjoyed listening to it. It's been a fun one to listen to. I'm ready for it to fully come out for everyone else that's listening to fully check it out. I mean, it is a nice little change of pace in taking meds and just see where you guys are going from here. But is there anything that I might have missed between like taking meds, this album, or anything in general that you just want the people to know about?
oh man, I think you covered a lot in terms of taking meds. I'm going to put a solo record out early next year. That's about the only thing that comes to mind.
Hell yeah. Has it like been in the works for a while? To is this going to be your like first solo project or?
No, I do this project called Growing Stone, but it's just my solo project. So I have one. I did one record in 2020. And
Okay.
yeah, I've been working on another record for sort of God, when did I start it? I guess a year ago. Worked on it for about a year, and now I'm getting ready to put it out through a label and shit. So
Hell yeah.
yeah,
So
that'll start getting announced at the end of the year, probably. I
nice.
hope.
So you've been pretty busy the last couple of years between taking meds and doing all that. Then.
Yeah, I do some other bands too. I stay busy with it.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll be sure to keep an eye out for that as well. And we'll talk links towards the end of the episode and make sure we get those in the descriptions for everyone to
It's
check
cool.
out as well. Um, so now we're going to kind of transition to the later half of this episode, which is always my favorite part of the episode. This is where we kind of just talk about some fun stories from your time in music. They can be anything from shows, tours, time recording. As I normally say, they can be anything horrendous to tremendous or any adjective in between. Um, I like we've kind of mentioned, you've been in the music scene for quite a while. I mean, Taking Med started in 2013. It's now 2023. Um, you guys have toured quite a bit. I know you toured with Such Gold and stuff like that. I'm sure you got some good ones up your sleeves.
So you just want me to tell one?
Yeah. So whatever stories you want to tell. I mean, they can be as tame or as wild as you want. This is your little time to reminisce about your time, I guess.
So I'm gonna tell one from Such Gold. But I was drunk a lot when I was in Such Gold, and So we were on this tour. Uh, I wasn't. It wasn't like the best tour for sure. I guess that's irrelevant. But I was drunk, and we were in Austin, Texas. Now we're sitting outside. We're sitting in front of a restaurant, just randomly, and I think we had just sat down to roll a joint for some reason. So I'm really drunk. I'm rolling a joint, and this guy walks out of the restaurant with like some other people, and he looks down at me rolling the joint, and he laughs. And I look at him, and it's Trey Cool from Green Day, who lives in Austin. So I look at him, and I'm like, "Oh, it's Trey Cool," and then I keep rolling the joint, and then I'm like, "Wait a minute, was that fucking Trey Cool?" And I'm like, "Was that Trey Cool?" And everyone was like, "I think so." And I was like, Trey Cool." And he's like walking away and like looks back and is like, "Hey." And I got up and just started screaming at like the top of my lungs. And I was like, Trey Cool, my whole life. And all I could yell was Trey Cool, my whole life, like over and over again. And he was like, just cracking up and like wasn't even turning around, just was just like going like this. And yeah, I messaged him about it recently on Instagram to see if he remembered, but he hasn't read the message in over a year. So
That's
it
a
wasn't
bummer.
that recently. Yeah. But yeah, like when I was like 9 years old, my older cousin who got me into music and taught me how to play guitar, like made me a tape of like, Nirvana, Weezer, and Green Day, shit like that. And I just I don't know. They were the first band that I thought was really cool. So I just was
That's
like I was drunk, but like the 10-year-old in me was like, dude, this is it. Like there he is. But he was just like that guy. He's probably just like that dude's hammered. It probably happens to him all the time.
yeah. I mean, I feel like we've all been in a situation like that. Like I remember, like the first time I saw Turnstile play, like Franz was walking by me, and I was decently drunk, but not like crazy. And I was just like, dude, you're amazing. Like you're the reason I want to play bass. And he was like, oh yeah, yeah, I gotta go do this, and just like just
Yeah.
brushed right by it. Like not like, but like in a cool way. Like he was like, I've heard of this like a million fucking times. Like come up with a better line. But yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I wasn't drunk, I wouldn't have said anything. Like whenever I see famous people, I don't say anything because I don't know what am I gonna say, I
Yeah.
love your work. I don't know. I'm typically not that kind of person. So it's kind of lucky for me and Trey Cool that he caught me when I was almost blackout drunk.
Should have just asked him if he wanted to smoke. Maybe he would have stopped and like came back.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You're right. I thought I would hope that he knows that it's always open invitation. Trey Cool. If you're watching, I don't smoke weed anymore, but Ben does. We got you anytime, even though you're a multimillionaire. Trying to think of a more recent tour story. Fuck. I'm just gonna sit here in silence trying to think of a story now, and I don't want to do that to you.
I
That's
mean,
not very interesting.
it it'll get cut anyways. All the silence will.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Wow. Okay,
I at
so I
least
could
do I at
just
least do some editing. I don't keep it fully DIY.
sure. That's good. That's good.
uh,
Oh man.
well, I got one. So like we were talking about in the song where you talk about getting stuck in the elevator at JFK. Did that actually happen?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. I'm sure I've been stuck in an elevator before. I've been stuck on many subways. Um, Trying to think what my worst airport experience. would be. They're just boring. Oh, actually, dude, I had a fucking crazy experience flying to it. My girlfriend lives in Atlanta, so I fly down there a lot to see her. And this one day, I was flying there. I think it was a direct flight. I think it was on Delta. And the plane, I'm not like I'm not like weird about plane rides. I'm not afraid of flying. They don't make me sick, none of that. But
Hmm.
like there was such crazy turbulence and the plane like did that thing where it like drops like, but it was so intense, dude. And I was like, I like had physical anxiety kicking up, and like the turbulence was terrible. The intercom went silent, like they stopped communicating to us. They kept like flying away from the airport, and you could see it on the screen, like because Delta has the screen that shows the plane and
Yeah.
which direction it's going. So I was like, what the fuck is going on? And they're like not talking to us. And it was a genuinely scary experience. And I was talking to my mom later that week, and I was like, oh, by the way, like I had the worst flight experience. Like I've never had an experience like this before. And she told me that like this woman who was like a former Obama aide um, was on a private jet that day and hit some turbulence in like the DC area. So like right around where I was, you know, East Coast, like towards the south. And the turbulence was so bad, and she never seatbelt on that she was thrown across the cabin and killed. And also on that day, in celebrity news, I guess Matthew McConaughey was like flying to France from wherever he lives in fucking Texas or whatever, and they had to make like an emergency landing in DC. So apparently, it was like a fucking day, a hellish day to fly, and I flew
Jeez.
recently on that day. Yeah. Fuck, man. I wish I had a better story. I've never seen like. I wish I had a story where like somebody got kicked off of a plane or something, and I watched it go down, but I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty intense. Either way. Uh, um well, here I got a couple prompts. One
Perfect.
that
I need them.
one that I've been asking recently, just because I'm also a big food guy, and that's kind of one of the things I miss from being on the road is all like the small go-to spots that you find in like different cities or different states. Um, you guys are obviously doing a couple runs up here pretty soon, and then also that November run. But are there any spots that you're hoping to hit food wise, or something that you don't get often that you're ready to hit again on your next tour?
That's a good question. Also, I'm vegan, so it's like kind of easy
The
to
limit,
answer this with
yeah.
like stock answers. When we play in Boston, where is that? You're from Minneapolis, so you probably don't know. Where is that Smoking Pope show? Do you know when we play in
Uh,
Boston? Because
I can look it up
the
real
last
quick.
few times we've played in Boston, we play at the Middle East, and there's actually a restaurant across the street from the Middle East that I think is a promotional tool. If you show them like your Instagram and show
Hmm.
them that you're like on a Middle East flyer, they feed you for free.
Oh, hell yeah.
But I don't
Uh,
go there. I go to the vegan diner down the street, Veggie Galaxy, because it's so good. So I could have free food, which also they have vegan options there, but I need to get like garbage vegan food from Veggie Galaxy. So
I hate to break it, but you guys are playing Brighton Music Hall.
oh shit, that's cool though. That's a cool venue. But yeah, what do I like to eat over there? Dude, there's this Italian spot called Carlo's, like 2 blocks from Brighton Music Hall. I don't even know if it's still there. It's like a legit Italian restaurant. Like the food is amazing.
Hell yeah.
That's my favorite kind of food. So there you go. I'm probably not gonna go there, but it's dope.
That's
Oh,
fair.
and fuck, they have that grilled cheese place near there. What the fuck is it called? I don't remember. Hopefully, someone from Boston gets mad at me. But there's a grilled cheese. There's like a vegan grilled cheese place near Bread Music Hall.
Okay.
Yeah, it's lit. And
Um,
there's a vegan ice cream spot too. I don't remember what that's called either. I know where it
um,
is though.
that's all. That's all that matters. As long as you know where it's
Exactly.
at.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck everybody else. I know. I'm good. That's my
One
motto.
of the first tours I did, um, reminded them the second one. We played in upstate New York, I think right outside Rochester, and
That's
it
where
was
I
kind
am
of
right
like a
now.
oh nice.
What band were you in?
We were in a smaller band called Exit Emergency. Um, uh, we were like just they were pop punk kids from like Iowa, so
You know the display case guys, right?
yeah, they're. I just talked to them a couple weeks ago. Actually, their episode comes out in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Those guys are awesome. We stayed
Yeah.
with them many times over
Oh,
the
nice.
years.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah. Uh, we were talking on that episode with them that we actually like met each other. I think almost like 10 years ago, and then we kind of did full circle where they came on the podcast. So it was kind of nice. Other than that, we lived like 3 hours away from each other, so we didn't like hang out or anything like that.
What part of Iowa are you from?
I'm from like southeast Iowa, by like Iowa City.
Okay. That's 3 hours from Des Moines.
It's like 2.5, 2 hours. But yeah, I'm from like a smaller town outside of that. But
Where did you guys play outside of Rochester? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly where it was. It was like a house show. It was us, our friends that were also from Iowa. Um, there's a band, Storm of the Bay played that show,
Yep.
and there was another like kind of like hardcore post-hardcore band that I can't remember what their name was, but they were also like super sick and super nice. But they after the show we were like, well, we all need to get food before we like go crash at someone's house, and they took us to this place that was like a few blocks away called Burrito Fresco. I don't know if that rings any bells. Okay, but it was this super good burrito spot, like hole in the wall, and I think I did follow them on like Facebook, and they like shut down, but I kept their business card uh because the burritos were just very amazing that night.
It must have been a place. I lived in New York City for 10 years, so it was probably here when I was there. So I don't know about it.
Yeah, because this would have been like 2014, I think,
Yeah.
ish. So
Was the other band you played with Drew's?
no, I'll have to dig because I know I have like their EP somewhere on my computer. I'll have to dig it, and I'll shoot you a message about it.
Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a great time. Other than that, like I also miss like cookouts and just like those random just fast food spots.
Yeah, we're what's our big man, I don't even know. We don't have like a none of us are crazy for like any of the regional fast food spots. The cookout's good. We had a drummer one time at one point who loved cookout. I like Carl's Jr. on the West Coast.
Oh yeah,
That's
we have
that's
Hardee's
my
in the Midwest, so
yeah, fuck Hardee's. It's not the same. Literally is the same, except they don't have a Beyond Burger. So as soon as
yeah.
they get that, I'm riding hard for Hardee's.
Okay.
For now, slandering them. If Wendy's gets
Respect.
a Beyond Burger, it's game over. I'm gonna gain
Ooh.
20 pounds. Yeah. Sorry, I
Um,
couldn't think of more tour stories.
no, dude, you're good. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe for the next release, we'll do another one of these, and we can get a little bit more unhinged.
Dude, yeah. I mean, I feel like any stories I would have now is just like a crazy guy that we met, but I'm not nothing's coming to mind right now because we don't do any crazy shit anymore. Nobody drinks. No laws get broken.
Well, what's the
Yeah,
fun with that?
it's not. It sucks, dude.
Um, but yeah, like I said, we'll do another one of these in the future. I'm sure you guys got plenty more songs in the Taking Meds wheelhouse that we'll we'll touch base again.
Yeah, I'm
But
down.
yeah, um, well, as we kind of wind down here, um, before I fully let you go, I know you did a music video for Outside off this album, um, which I've also grown to love just minimal style music videos. I don't know, like storyline ones are great, but I also love these minimal ones, and this one is just as minimal as can be. You know, you're just walking in front of the camera, having a good time singing along to lyrics while your bandmates try and basically just take you out repeatedly, which I thought was very funny. Um, what kind of sparked that idea to do that for the music video rather than any idea that could have came to mind?
So there's a Morrissey song called Tomorrow. And if you watch that music video, it's it's basically that, except the guys look way cooler and they have better clothes, and no one tries to kill Morrissey. So I thought Taking Med's version of this music video would just be the same thing, except everyone's trying to kill me. And I just thought, it's an easy video to make. We did it in 3 takes. Fucking, you know, it's like the whole. I mean, we did 3 takes and then we picked a take because the video's in one take. I
One
also
shot,
thought that would be
yeah,
cool. Yeah, I also thought that would be cool. Because it's like one take. What is it? 2.5 minutes long or something.
yeah.
But yeah, Morrissey was the inspiration.
Okay. Now knowing that, now knowing that, are there any other old school music videos that you want to also kind of remake with the Taking Meds spin on it?
Trying to think. But yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a fun thing to do. I remember like wanting to use, like, on the last record for the life support video, for the live shots that we did. There's always inspiration on the filmmaker's part, I feel like. But I remember for that video, I specifically was like, I don't know why, but I just I wanted it to look like those older Blink 182 videos, like pre-Enema videos, where like the camera's like looking down at them, like
Mm,
at this angle. You know what I mean? And they like don't even have fucking amps or mics in some of them. They're just like in a room, and yeah, the angle just makes them kind of look like, the fucking the zoomer shots where they're fucking take them from back here and the legs are really long. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I remember that was like an inspiration for the performance parts of the Lifesaver video. Everything else so far has been like, I just thought it would be funny in my head. It wasn't. There was no like intent to rip off a music video, but I would definitely do it again. Um, this one was like a sure thing because you'd need zero budget to do it. Whereas like, you know, a lot of parodies that I could think of, we would need like a budget. So, but yeah, that definitely down to do it again.
Hell yeah. Well, hopefully in the future we get to see a little bit more of the Taking Meds uh, universe of music videos that are parodied from other ones. I don't know what a good term with that is for that universe, but that'd be really cool to see just like a whole line of those kind of going. Um,
Yeah, we'll be like Weird Al.
yeah, exactly. Uh, but like I've said multiple times, Dial M for Meds is a great album that everyone should be checking out. I know at the time of this recording, obviously we're pre-album release, so there's pre-orders up on Smart Punk's website with some other merch pre-orders. But if anyone's looking for merch, music, or taking meds in general, where can they find it?
Well, we have a link tree, and I have everything collected there. So it's linktr.ee/taking meds. Um, Merch. right now, online merch would all be at Smart Punk, and like you said, you can pre-order. It's all pre-order stuff. You can pre-order the record. We got bucket hats. There's a Nalgene bottle that looks like a pill bottle,
Yeah, I did love
which,
that. That's great.
yeah, that was Matt's idea from Smart Punk, and it's a great idea. I love it too. I'm excited to get mine. Um, yeah, and you can find any like press or watch the videos, find our tour dates at that. So that's in the bio of our Twitter and Instagram. It's easy to find the Taking Meds link tree. I might update our big cartel at some point with like hoodies or something. I got some leftovers lying around still, but I travel so much that sometimes I'll take the store down because I won't be able to ship for a while. But yeah.
Well, depending on where you found this episode, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, or you watched the YouTube version and got to hang out with me and Skyler tonight, make sure you check the description, hit those hyperlinks, go get your merch, get those records, stay up to date with everything Taking Meds, and be ready for future music. Those tour dates for later this year, and everything else. Oh, also for your solo project, where can people find that as well?
Yeah, so that's called Growing Stone. It's on all the streaming services. Growing Stone Music on Instagram. And then I have a hardcore band that I do with Ben called Who Decides. That's on all streaming services. Who Decides HC, I think, on Instagram. And I have a project called Highway Sniper that I do with my friend George. Again, super easy to find.
Hell yeah. Well, make sure I'll put those links down in the description below as well. Make sure you go follow all those. I also follow Who Decides. You guys ripped for that. I actually have, I think the split that you guys put out last year, the year before.
I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah. So I got a couple copies of those.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you're killing it with everything you're doing, man. I'm stoked for what's coming next, Taking Meds and all the other projects as well. Next time you guys are coming through Minneapolis, for sure, let me know. I'll get you guys a place to stay. Make sure I'm out at the show. We'll have a good time. But other than that, Skyler, thank you so much for taking the time on your Thursday, chilling in your vehicle to make this happen.
Of course, thanks for having me, man.
Dude, of course, anytime.
The landlord of the space just like was trying to knock on my window like earlier, and I was like, no. So I gotta see what he wants.
Well, I'll let you go.
I think I paid rent.
Hopefully, right? Fingers crossed.
I'm pretty sure I did.
Well, I'll let you go deal with that and let everyone else have the rest of their time, and I'll catch everyone on the next episode. See ya. Beers with bears.